This is Women Driving the Industry with Cheyenne Malone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheyenne Malone. Welcome to Women Driving the Industry on CBT News. In today's segment, we are highlighting yet another powerhouse within retail automotive. Karen Sutton-Ford is the driving force behind Sutton-Ford in Matteson, Illinois. And Karen's story is one of legacy, community, and leadership. Not only is she following in her parents' footsteps, she's carved out a remarkable path of her own. In fact, she was recently honored at NAMAD's National Conference in Miami. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. So you are quite impressive. And, today we just want to get to know you a little bit better and your history. Obviously, first, this is a family business. Did you always know that you were going to maybe follow in mom and dad's footsteps and get into the retail automotive industry?
So, my parents tell me that I've been saying since I was probably about 10 or 11 that this is what I wanted to do. And it was just to take over the family business. Of course, maybe have the opportunity to grow it and expand. But yes, this is something I've always wanted to do in the automotive space, sales in particular, because I enjoy, talking to people, being able to move around. It's always something different every day. So, I guess the short answer would be yes.
And do you have a passion for cars? Was it being with them at the business all the time? What do you think drew you in?
So I think it's more so like the business aspect, right? And it's the franchise model. So that's why when automotive industry, a lot of people don't necessarily find it attractive. It's actually, if you look at it, it's the same business model as any other business. You might have a couple of different departments or there are different types of departments, but for me, it was the business side of it. So that's where you still have that entrepreneurial spirit where you can use your ideas and you can grow, but the security came with it being a franchise. So we are backed by Ford Motor Company. That makes a very big difference. So yes, of course, like I said, automotive. I like vehicles. I'm not like a gearhead or anything like that, but I do like to be able to have the input on vehicles and to see all the different changes in technology and where the industry is going.
And you said you knew when you were such a young child that you would be entering this business. Kind of walk us through your career path. Where did you go to school?
So I started off. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago. I went to Hampton University in Virginia, which is a historically black college, and really, really, truly enjoyed myself. So much so, I had a job offer with IBM, but I really wanted to just like kind of stay and hang out. But of course, my parents said no. I graduated in 2010, so it was kind of a recession. So they said, look, you need to accept this job offer. And I really wanted to go to the career fair and really find something more so in sales because that was in finance. Um, but I ended up going to finance and I started with IBM. I lived in New York, so that was pretty cool coming out of college and going to New York. But I really couldn't shake my passion for sales. And so I started looking within IBM if I could try to get to the sales side or even in the automotive sector. But I ended up, my dad was going to, I think it was NADA. And I said, hey, can I give you my resume? Can you get me a job? And he's like, no. He said, go get your own job. I'm like, what? And like the rule was you when you graduated college, you could not come home. You cannot work for him. If you wanted to work at a dealership, you could go work at any other dealership. You just couldn't work at Sutton Ford. And so I actually said, okay, fine, I'll come to the conference with you. So I went to NADA and I, went around and I talked to some people and I applied with Ford and Toyota, but eventually I ended up going with Toyota because Ford it's just too close to home. People would figure out who I was and I didn't want any preferential treatment or even on the other side of it. So I went on to Toyota and I had an opportunity to live in California, started there in their management training program and ended as a district service manager in the San Francisco region. Then I got the call to come home. And at that point, people like would come visit me and go look at Stanford or different colleges for graduate school. That was never on my radar, but I found out about the 1 year MBA program. So when I got the call, I told my dad, like, give me another year. So I studied for my GMAT. I ended up going to Atlanta for a year, and I did the Emory's Gozetta School of Business Accelerated MBA program. That's where I happened to meet my husband. And so then we moved back to Chicago in 2015. And I started as a fleet manager here because we're actually really big in the fleet department. So started in fleet, had a couple people retire, hired some more people. Then I started doing my rotation around the business in service and parts. Then I went to dealer school, and then did sales. And then 2020 happened. So the succession plan was really, I think
Mhm.
it was supposed to be around 2022, 2023, when we were going to try to move everything over. But in 2020, my dad was kind of like, I'm not coming back. Like he was in Florida. So that kind of accelerated everything. And so I've been GM dealer principal since 2020.
Wow. So tell me what it was like when your whole life you wanted to get into this business and you thought maybe you'd be, entering the family business once you got educated and you came back, you brought your, education to the business and your dad was like, nope, you can work anywhere but here. What was that like? And what was the real, purpose behind that? Did he want you to go out and find other experience and then come home?
First, definitely. So we knew that always growing up, that you have to go figure it out. You have to go get a job. And he really did want us to go to corporate America because it's a totally different experience than a small or medium sized business and a family owned business. So he wanted us to go to corporate America, basically, essentially to get, kind of tossed around a little bit, beaten up, understand what it takes to have to be able to claw your way up. And so so I always knew that I couldn't come home. I could come home. I just couldn't work for him. So but the
Immediately.
corporate America experience really was beneficial. So I kudos to him. I get a lot of compliments about it too. Of like that's really the path to go. To go outside and get that experience. So many people, they move up from like prep team, salesperson, service advisor, and they move up, but they might not have had that experience outside of either the automotive industry or even corporate America. So it gives
Mhm.
you some tools in your tool belt that you might not have gotten had you just grown up in the business.
And you were recently awarded an award by NAMAD at their national conference in Miami. What was that like? What's the award? Tell us about that. How does it make you feel to get such a high honor?
Yes, yes. It was so it's the Ally Sees Her Award, and you can't see it. It's on the other side of my office. I was gonna like look turn back and show you. Sorry. So it's the Ally Sees Her Award. And it just truly is an honor because, like I said, you work so hard and you pour a lot into your everyday, what you're doing to try to make a difference. And it's really, it's saying, no, we see you. We know that you're working hard. And it's just gratifying to know that your work is not in vain. And it's just helps you to continue to push and like just champion these initiatives that lead to meaningful and lasting impact.
How important is it that we have groups and organizations like NAMAD?
Oh, it's of utmost importance. I actually happen to have a NAMAD pin on right now, and NAMAD really made a huge difference for me. So, for me personally, right? So, having NAMAD and helping minority dealers, I don't know if we didn't have NAMAD or if Ford didn't have their minority dealer development program in the 80s, I might not be here today.
Wow.
So then now we're like, I've been in the NAMAD Next Generational program, and it's building the future leaders. And so I've had an opportunity to do some trainings that I would have never been able to do had it not been for NAMAD. So it really helped catapult my career, as well as the mentorship and the connections that you have within NAMAD or organization or other, there's some other organizations as well. But I more particularly speak on NAMAD because that's where I'm actually going to be the vice president of the Next Generation committee this year, but I just know personally what they've done for me. And then we were joking around at this last conference. I said, man, like I'm an old head now. So it's almost like you come in with a class. You don't really realize it, but the people that are, you're doing some of the same things. And a lot of us are dealers now, which is the goal of NAMAD and the goal of Next Gen. And then to look at some of the individuals who are coming in and they're currently maybe GSMs or GMs and they're looking for their opportunity. And I'm saying, wow, but you get the opportunity now to mentor and to say, okay, this is what I did. This is how I use NAMAD. This is how NAMAD was able to help me. So let me assist you. So I just love, these organizations are what's going to keep us ready for the future.
And I understand you have siblings in the business as well.
Yeah, I have an older sister who's in the business. Uh,
Okay.
she's she's part owner here at Sutton Ford, and then we bought a Ford dealership in Florida in July 31st of last year, 2023. So she is running that.
And having your parents, your sister, having such a close knit and bond, having a family business, do you foresee your kids jumping in the business in the future?
That would be awesome. Of course, I would love that. They can do whatever they want to do. And I probably will take my parents' approach of they have to go figure it out, cut their teeth, get some skin in the game. But, with the automotive industry or anything, right, it's forever changing and it's so innovative and technology is always changing. So I hope that there's some place for them to come to and to work. I see my youngest is 6, so 25, 30 years from now, but with everything rapidly changing, you know we'll see what the future brings. But I would love that. I would love to be have the opportunity to be a third generation. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to, they say, I think it's 50% of businesses fail in the second generation, and I think only 20% make it to the third. So to be able to see if my sons could take over, I would really love that.
Yeah. You said future, so we'll go there. Where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years?
So, like I said, I still have opportunities here. I really, just continue working with the team, keeping the culture well, doing well, and the Ford store that we just purchased, making sure that's up and running smoothly. But 5, 10 years again, my so I have dreams. I had dreams. One I'm living. But when I was younger, and I said that I want to take over the family business, I also said that my dream would be to own luxury, right? Mercedes, BMW. I used to work for Toyota, so I would love Toyota, Lexus. So, I hope the future holds a couple more franchises, a couple more franchises, and maybe even the opportunity to move someplace warmer.
Ha! I hear you on that. So, any final thoughts? I think this is very inspirational. I love that you are, put it out there and you've been on a mission and gathered your awards along the way and you're still going and you still have big goals ahead. Any advice, any final words for people who are watching?
Just everything that I always reiterate is that you can do anything that you put your mind to. You could literally do anything. The world is yours with determination and faith, and just keep the right people around you in your corner. Just never give up. Never give up and keep pushing. As long as you set your mind to it and you believe that that is what you're called to do, you'll get there.
Awesome. Well, Karen, thank you so much for your time and really allowing us to share your story. It's very impressive. We'll be watching and following you along the way. So keep doing what you're doing and know that you are inspiring so many women across the industry.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
All
And
right.
thanks to all of you for tuning into this episode of Women Driving the Industry.
Thanks for watching Women Driving the Industry with Cheyenne Malone.